Coming up today, South Korea and the United States reach a revised civil nuclear deal after more than 4 years of highly sensitive negotiations. The leaders of Korea and Chile agreed to broaden their bilateral relationship beyond trade and investment into the fields of infrastructure, energy and education. Plus, giving a speech in Jakarta, Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe ignores calls to issue a fresh apology for Japan's wartime atrocities, but says Japan feels remorse over its actions during World War II. Stay tuned for these stories and more. Hello to our viewers around the world. It's 6 a.m. on Thursday, April 23rd here in Seoul. Thanks, as always, for joining us. I'm Mark Broome. Our top story this morning, Korea and the United States have struck an updated agreement on their nuclear energy partnership after nearly half a decade of negotiations. The deal paves the way for Korea, the world's sixth largest atomic power generator, to expand its energy operations. Our Hwang Sang-hee starts us off.
After nearly 5 years of negotiations, South Korea and the United States agreed on a new nuclear cooperation pact on Wednesday.
As the existing accord sealed 40 years ago had various components that needed to be improved, the new one shows progress in three main areas: spent fuel management, a steady fuel supply, and reactor export promotion.
The previous accord prohibited reprocessing and uranium enrichment activities in Korea. The new deal opens the door to experimental reprocessing of fuel, known as pyroprocessing. This method, which is less likely to produce fuel for military purposes, has long been seen as an ideal way to recycle spent fuel, helping to address Korea's used fuel storage concerns. Under the agreement, Korean scientists can conduct local research using U.S.-origin spent fuel. Even though Washington will continue to ensure a reliable supply of fuel for 23 reactors in Korea, the revisions will permit low-grade uranium enrichment if agreed upon by both parties. The deal also allows Korea to transfer American nuclear equipment and related materials to a third country and promises to speed up Washington's authorization process for nuclear imports and exports. These measures will create more opportunities for Korea's nuclear export industry. Both countries say the updates are a big improvement.
In sum, the proposed agreement is one of the most sophisticated and dynamic peaceful nuclear cooperation agreement we've ever negotiated. And this speaks to the state-of-the-art nature of ROK's peaceful nuclear program.
Experts echo the view, saying most of Korea's demands have been met. The updated agreement will be valid for 20 years. The new deal will come into force only after the completion of executive and legislative processes in Seoul and Washington, which will likely be before the existing agreement expires next March. Hwang Sang-hee, Arirang News.
And President Park Geun-hye has hailed the revised Korea-US nuclear deal, calling it more advanced and mutually beneficial than the previous accord. Speaking in Chile on Wednesday, the president said she was very pleased with revisions that will help resolve the management of spent fuel rods and the lifting of various regulations. She added that Korea's national interests were reflected as much as possible and touted a safety measure in the pact which will guarantee Korea's autonomy in nuclear energy activities. President Park also said Seoul will ensure the new deal is fulfilled by setting up a joint committee with Washington, as well as a government office to handle international non-proliferation. And President Park Geun-hye, who's currently in Chile on the third leg of her South America tour, held talks with her Chilean counterpart on Wednesday. The two leaders sought ways to upgrade their cooperation from the previously FTA-centered one. Our Che Sun files this report from Santiago.
Reflecting on their decade-long FTA, President Park Geun-hye and Chilean President Michelle Bachelet agreed to take their cooperation beyond just trade and investment. In 2010, Chile launched its Startup Chile project, offering $40,000 in capital, a one-year visa, and various tax incentives to selected entrepreneurs from around the world. The program has successfully backed 1,000 startups from 75 countries, helping Chile earn the nickname Silicon Valley. Korea, also implementing its own measures to foster startups, signed a deal with Chile to jointly develop new startup programs and to mutually support their ventures. Seoul expects to see some 90 Korean ventures in Central and South America in the next 10 years. Chile's state broadcaster TVN signed a deal with Korea's educational broadcasting system on consulting and sharing education and cultural contents. Not only is this expected to expand the Korean wave into education, it will better market products related to Korean animation characters like its world-famous Pororo. Santiago plans to increase its electricity from renewable energy sources to 20% by 2025. The value of the Chilean energy market is expected to surpass $5 billion in 2018, and a bilateral deal to cooperate on future renewable energy projects will allow Korean firms to secure a strong presence in the Chilean market. President Park's state visit has also moved Korea a step closer to winning some of Chile's big infrastructure projects, like the one to construct a tunnel linking Chile and Argentina. Choi Yu-sun, Arirang News, Santiago.
International calls have been growing for Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe to apologize for Japan's wartime atrocities, but with the platform set at a regional summit in Jakarta on Wednesday, he chose not to. The omission has fueled speculation that Abe doesn't intend to apologize during his upcoming speech to US Congress either. Kim Hyun-bin has more.
Speaking at an Asia-Africa summit marking the 60th anniversary of the Bandung Conference in Jakarta, Indonesia on Wednesday, Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe expressed remorse for Japan's involvement in World War II, but failed to offer an apology to those who suffered under the country's brutal colonial rule.
Japan, with feelings of deep remorse over the past, have made a pledge to remain a nation that always adheres to the principles affirmed in the first Bandung Conference.
Abe's speech comes on the heels of controversial moves by Japanese politicians amid tense relations between Japan and its neighbors over history and territory. Earlier in the day, a group of Japanese lawmakers paid their respects at a highly controversial war shrine in Tokyo. Korea slammed the move, saying that the tribute shows that Japan is still not willing to face history. The day before the visit, Abe has sent a ritual offering to the shrine. Yasukuni Shrine honors Japan's war dead, including 14 convicted Class A war criminals. And trips there by Japanese leaders anger Seoul and Beijing, as the visits are seen as glorifying Japan's imperialistic past. Now all eyes are on Abe as he visits Washington next week, where he's said to become the first Japanese leader to address the joint session of Congress on April 29th. Critics say Abe is one worthy of the privilege because of his efforts to whitewash Japan's imperialistic past and wartime atrocities. On Tuesday, a group of U.S. congressmen urged the Japanese leader to use the address to apologize for Japan's wartime system of sex slavery. Kim Hyun-bin, Arirang News.
Former Japanese prime ministers are urging current Prime Minister Shinzo Abe to clearly include an acknowledgement and apology for the country's wartime aggression in his upcoming statement marking the 70th anniversary of Japan's surrender in World War II. Tokyo-based Kyodo News Agency reports that Yukio Hatoyama, speaking at a press conference on Wednesday, said there would be serious complications if words such as invasion or colonial rule are not included in the statement, and that it would raise tensions in East Asia. Hatoyama is even known to have said that it would be better not to issue the statement at all if Abe does not want to use a clear expression. His comment came a day after his predecessor, Tomiichi Murayama, launched into a similar criticism during a lecture. Murayama, whose landmark statement in 1995 officially admitted to and apologized for Japan's colonial occupation of the Korean Peninsula, said Abe doesn't want to remark on the country's atrocities because he doesn't want to acknowledge it. The leaders of Japan and China met in Jakarta on Wednesday amid signs the two countries' frosty ties over historical and territorial issues may be thawing somewhat, at least. Speaking following a 30-minute meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping in the Indonesian capital, Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe said the development of relations between the countries was in the interests of the people of Japan and China. He noted that by working together, their two countries can contribute to the stability of the region and the world. The United States said it welcomed the meeting, stressing that relations between Beijing and Tokyo affect peace in Asia and beyond. Russia has confirmed that it is expecting a visit from North Korean leader Kim Jongun in May. An aide to Russian President Vladimir Putin said Wednesday that North Korean officials have relayed to the Kremlin that Kim will be in attendance for a May 9th event to mark the 70th anniversary of the Soviet victory over Nazi Germany in World War II. The aide added that preparations are underway for a summit meeting between Kim and Putin, but noted that the details of Kim's upcoming trip have yet to be ironed out. North Korea has not officially confirmed Kim's visit, but if he does travel to Moscow, it will be his first overseas trip since coming to power in late 2011. Now back here in South Korea, and prosecutors investigating the snowballing bribery scandal surrounding the so-called Songwan-jong list grilled his chief secretary until the early hours of Thursday morning. Speaking to reporters after 12 hours of questioning, Lee Young-gi, who also served as a director on public relations at Song's company, Gyeongnam Enterprises, said he answered the prosecutors honestly. Lee, however, claims he did not know much about this list. Prosecutors are also known to have interrogated Lee on Song's whereabouts before he committed suicide earlier this month. They plan to continue their investigations on Park Jun-ho, one of Song's closest aides, who was arrested Wednesday on suspicion of destroying evidence along with other key employees from that company. Iron Man, Captain America, Thor and the rest of the gang are back, and Korean audiences can't wait to watch their latest adventure on the big screen. The Avengers Age of Ultron opens in theatres across the country on Thursday. Korean movie fans have been snapping up tickets by the bucket load, and Hollywood is taking notice. Connie Kim reports.
Before the Avengers sequel hit screens in Korea on Thursday, ticket reservations had exceeded 800,000, a record for the local movie industry. But that excitement comes as no surprise. Koreans are known for loving American films. Iron Man 3 found its third largest market in Korea, and Frozen did even better. The country was the film's second most profitable market after the US. An American film production company says Hollywood has recognized a lucrative potential here, making Seoul a regular stop on the promotion circuit.
The market has been much more important to the U.S. studio system because of the fact that the box office is growing, something that we take into consideration once we make our movies, as well as promote the movie.
Although Korea is a small country with a population of 50 million, its movie market was 7th largest in the world last year, with the U.S., China, and Japan taking the top 3 spots. And that isn't Korea's only advantage. Industry insiders also say Hollywood sees Korea as a source for new ideas and talent.
Hollywood itself is hunger for more stories, and it's been looking out to comic books and mangas and many different types of storylines. And we really have a unique storylines that would really cater out to Hollywood. And also, they've been looking for pool of talents in ethnic groups.
Although the Korean film market has been expanding steadily, experts say a long-term growth strategy is needed to build on recent successes.
I mean, with the Avengers, it's a great example of a Hollywood studio coming to Korea and making a film with the help of the local authorities here, and having them shoot in Seoul. It's kind of win-win situation for the studios. I mean,
Experts say that what's needed to foster the growth of the Korean film industry is support for both local independent films and collaborative projects between Korea and Hollywood. They add that commercial hits are necessary to expand the overall Korean movie market, while independent movies nurture creativity and originality. Connie Kim, Arirang News.
Well, that's all we have for now. I'm Mark Broome. Have a wonderful day, and thanks as always for tuning in. And we do hope to see you at the same time tomorrow. Goodbye.